Hi there, how are you doing? This is our first official video in vrosebhappy and mine series on the films of Martin Scorsese. We talked a little bit about Shutter Island earlier, but now we are going back to the 80s to talk a little bit about a comedy that he made called After Hours. Now, you might be surprised, if you're not familiar with this film, to know that one of Martin Scorsese's best films doesn't star Robert De Niro or Leonardo DiCaprio or Joe Pesci or Harvey Keitel or any of those guys, but stars the guy who played the zombie best friend of the American Werewolf in London, and Mr. Mom's wife, and the chick who is desperately seeking Susan, and Cheech and Chong, and both of Macaulay Culkin's parents from Home Alone. A really, really strange movie to see Martin Scorsese's name on. And I, wasn't even aware that Scorsese actually directed it until before I just saw it. Until right before I saw it. See, my best friend in school, he wanted to show it to me, and he didn't tell me anything about it. I'd seen the poster, basically, and the poster was simply Griffin Dunn's head on top of a giant watch, and a big pair of fingers were on his head and twisting it around to wind the watch. It was very, very strange. But like I said, I didn't know hardly anything about this movie, and so I was just as surprised as what was happening as the main character. And that, of course, is Griffin Dunn. He plays a guy named Paul Hackett who meets Rosanna Arquette in a coffee shop and then calls her up later and wants to go downtown to where she is in Soho and hook up. Everything just goes wrong. First he loses his money, and then he gets lost, and then he meets her friend, who's played by Linda Fiorentino from Men in Black and The Last Seduction. And she really throws him for a loop. And he's constantly running into these people that he just doesn't know how to deal with, It's like Dick Miller says in the coffee shop, after hours is when different rules apply. And Paul Hackett doesn't know the rules of Soho this late at night. It's just a different culture, different way of conducting oneself, and he's just kind of at a loss. He doesn't know who to, where to go, or how to deal with people. He's just kind of in enemy territory, and he doesn't realize it at first. Well, the people around him don't realize it, but eventually they, well, it's not like he's doing a bad thing or anything like that, but he's definitely a foreigner in their midst. He does not belong there, and he probably would have been a lot happier if he just stayed home, bored on his couch, with nothing on the tube. Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff in this movie, and Scorsese's visual touch is still rather apparent here, even though it's not one of his typical gangster pictures. One of my favorite shots in a Scorsese film is the way he will do a push-in, and that is where you physically move the camera towards something or someone. But normally what you do is you keep the lens wide when you do this. You keep it on a wide lens so you can see a lot. And what Scorsese does is he uses the telescopic lens. He uses the zoomed in image, which makes stuff fly past more greatly in the foreground and ends with a different kind of image. The very first shot in the movie is like that. It just breezes past a whole bunch of desks and finally lands on Griffin Dunn as he's sitting down in the middle of a conversation. Oh yeah, Bronson Pinchot's in this movie. Wacky from Perfect Strangers. Really funny to see all these guys in a Scorsese film. Yeah, so as the story just goes on, he just gets more and more out of sorts and has to deal with all kinds of stuff he's not prepared with. There's been a whole series of break-ins, and eventually he starts acting suspiciously enough for people to start wondering whether or not he's the one breaking in to people's homes and stealing stuff. He's not, but when people get this idea in their heads, then he's really in trouble. Yeah, really like this movie a lot. It's been one of my favorite movies of his ever since I saw it. I think this is probably the third Scorsese movie I saw after Taxi Driver and The Color of Money. Taxi Driver is the movie that we'll be doing next, so look out for that. Yeah, it's been ages since I've seen this movie, but I just rewatched a little bit of it just to sort of refresh myself. And as it happens, one of the very first pieces of music in the movie is the Bach piece that's also used during the library sequence in Seven. How's that? It's been so long since I've seen the movie, I didn't even remember that. But yeah, terrific movie. Lots of fun. Definitely you want to take a look at that if you're interested in scoping out the less heralded parts of Scorsese's filmography. And of course, vrosebhappy has her review as well. There's a link to her channel below, so you can check it out. And I was very pleased to hear that she liked the movie as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And like I said, next we're doing Taxi Driver, and that'll be cool. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.